beyond the range of material perception. Because Krishna has an energy of bewilderment, he can't be seen by ordinary vision. If we can understand Krishna from the material point of view, that means then, just by looking at any aspect of the material energy, we can become self-realized. Now just try to do that. See yourself walking through this world, through the cities, through the towns, through nature, and just looking and becoming enlightened. Not possible, because of this curtain of diluting energy, which hides Krishna from ordinary vision. Therefore, the devotee, the Krishna Bhakta, takes up the process of bhakti yoga and becomes qualified to see through the illusory energy. It's a great mistake to think that because God is everything, I can just look at everything and I'll be God realized. There is a veil, there is a curtain, Queen Kunti describes, which blocks the vision of unqualified persons. Now you might ask, why would Krishna want to hide himself from everyone? But any gentleman or lady does not expose himself or herself to just anyone. If, let us say you're walking on the street and some stranger comes up to you and says, please tell me everything about yourself. You would feel quite uncomfortable. Excuse me, but we need to develop a relationship first. In a relationship, there's mutual loving exchanges, and then finally, there's revealing of the mind. You can just imagine, you're walking down the street with your family, and some stranger really comes up to you, tell me, how did you meet your wife? You'd be shocked. But if some friends or relatives who you've known for a long time ask you such a question, you'd be very happy to talk about it. Oh, it happened like this. Because there's a relationship. So why can't we allow Krishna's status as a person? This is the big question. For ourselves, we'll reserve privacy, we'll reserve some aloofness. We are careful with strangers. So Krishna, as the Supreme Person, why can't he also have his privacy, his respectability? In fact, Krishna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has an energy that protects his privacy. It's like if you live in a gated community, there are various security measures. Or if you live in a big house by yourself, you have the video camera watching to see who's approaching the house, who's ringing the bell. As the Supreme Person, Krishna has his energy for sorting out who is approaching him. This is a sign of personal respectability. The illusory energy of Maya makes sure that unqualified persons don't disturb Krishna. Perhaps you can remember what it's like when you're having some intimate family gathering or intimate gathering amongst friends at your home, and somehow or other the doorbell rings, you open the door and it's a salesman Is that right? What are you doing here? Disturbing us in this way. So Krishna has a system that his personal pastimes won't be disturbed. This is all part of being a person. A respectable person does not expose himself or herself to just everyone. Srila Prabhupada describes India at the beginning of the 20th century. He describes that when his mother would just go across the street from her house, across the street to visit the house of a lady friend, she would go in a palanquin that was covered on both sides. Because at the beginning of the 20th century in India, the cultural standard was that a respectable lady never is seen in public in an ordinary way. As Srila Prabhupada describes it, just for the lady to cross the street to visit the lady friend, she would get in a palanquin hoisted upon the shoulders of palanquin bearers, and there would be veils on all sides as part of respectability. A precious gem is not kept on display. If you go to a jewelry shop and you ask to see their most expensive items, they're kept in the back. They're shown only to customers that the merchants think can afford to buy them. So they say, excuse me, you may ask when you're looking at the jewelry items, do you have anything more? What is your top of the line? And then the merchant has a glint in his eye. Just wait a minute. He goes in the back. Comes out with a $1 million ring. This is all about respectability and prestige, class. And Krishna is the best at that. Even though his Vrindavan Leela is the most intimate in terms of lack of awe and reverence among the residents of Vrindavan. Still, Krishna keeps that Vrindavan Leela protected by his own energy, so that unqualified persons won't cause a disturbance. In our practice of Bhakti Yoga, we are trying to convince Krishna that will not be a disturbance. We're trying to regain Krishna's trust. If in this life you attain perfection, then you go to the universe, particular universe in the material cosmos where Krishna is having his pastimes, and you become trained up how to be a perfect member of Krishna's Leelas. To get to that situation, of course, we have to convince Krishna. We're trustworthy. Just like Mother Yashoda, Krishna trusts her so much that he allows her to bind him with a rope. Krishna has no inside or outside. How do you get a rope around him? How do you get a rope around everything? But Mother Yashoda, as you undoubtedly discussed during the Bhakti Karti, she was determined to get a rope around Krishna. Now, at Krishna's little age, his waist was tiny. What would be the problem in getting a rope around his waist? Mother Yashoda tried one rope, and she couldn't close the rope. There was a gap of 2 fingers. She added another rope, and another rope, and another rope. And there was always a gap of 2 fingers. She kept doing this, tying one rope onto another rope, onto another rope. She couldn't get the ropes completely around Krishna's waist. There's always this gap. The elder gopis of Vrindavan were watching. They were smiling. They were thinking, Yashoda Mai, your son is not ordinary. It looks like he doesn't want to be bound. But Mother Yashoda was completely determined. I don't care if I have to be here all day. I'm going to bind him. I don't care if it takes every rope in the village and it takes me from morning till evening. I will bind him. This is her determination. A determination born out of pure love, Vatsalya Prem, parental love of God. He's my son. I must discipline him. He's so restless, who knows, at any moment he may race out into the forest. Mother Yashoda thought, first I had a stick in my hand just to scare him, but he became too frightened. And that's not good child psychology. So I put the stick down. But I still have to discipline him. He's my child. So she sought to bind him. And no matter how many ropes she joined together to get around little Krishna's waist, the job couldn't be complete. What was Krishna thinking? I'm not wanting to be bound. I have to do more mischief with my friends. And Mother Yashoda is thinking, you will be bound. I am your mother. I am responsible for maintaining you. You are dependent upon me. So then what happened? Krishna observed his mother's determination. He saw the flowers falling from her hair as she tried to bind him. He saw beads of perspiration on her face. See, a most beautiful sight. Then Krishna decided, all right, because of her determination and because of my mercy, the gap of 2 fingers will be closed. For those 2 reasons. Mother Yashoda's determination in bhakti and Krishna's determination to reciprocate with his devotees pure love. That's the only way that the Supreme Unlimited can be bound. When he agrees, captured by his devotees' love. Otherwise, how do you get a rope around someone who is everything? Someone who has no inside or outside. Krishna is beyond any kind of material, spatial considerations. He's beyond any material geometry. He is the supreme everything. How do you get a rope around the supreme everything, the sum total of everything? Prior to Mother Yashoda's trying to bind Krishna with a rope, she had seen something in Krishna's mouth. You know what happened. Little Krishna, as the main perpetrator, accompanied sometimes by Balaram, they were causing havoc in Vrindavan. They would do so much mischief. They would go in the morning or evening to the residents of Vrindavan's houses, and before the people could get milk from their cows, Krishna and Balaram would let the calves loose, and the calves would drink up all the milk from the cows. Krishna specialized in stealing butter. No matter where butter was hidden, Krishna would find it. And if somehow or other he couldn't find any butter, then he would go, he and Balaram would pass stool and urine on it in the place of worship in Laguna. If he found some yogurt, he would feed it to the monkeys till the monkeys didn't want any more. And then Krishna would say, little Krishna would say, just see the value. The elder residents of Vrindavan, especially the ladies, they would go to Mother Yashoda to lodge complaints. Actually, they were very blissful observing Krishna's pastimes. And, and they were thinking, Mother Yashoda doesn't see all this. She's not part of the pleasure we're getting by observing Krishna do all this mischief. Let's go include her in. So they would go and tell Mother Yashoda, your son has done this, your son has done that. They would describe all the mischief that Krishna is doing. Krishna would gather his cowherd boys, and they would find where yogurt was in pots hanging from the ceiling. And Krishna would teach the little cowherd boys the art of picking a hole in the bottom of the clay pot. And then he would show them how to open their mouths so all the yogurt would come into their mouth. So all this was reported to Mother Yashoda. This is what your son is doing. And Krishna would he would be there as the reports came in, and Mother Yashoda would look at him, and Krishna would just smile. Such an innocent smile. I would never do such a thing, Mother. You know that. Mother Yashoda encouraged the older gopi ladies in their filing reports of Krishna's activities, because in this way she wanted that they taste the pleasure of parental love of Krishna that she's tasting. So this is life amongst devotees. Every devotee is always wishing that the other devotee will relish the taste of connection to Krishna. The older gopis, they wanted Mother Yashoda to be in on what Krishna was doing, breaking into their houses and stealing. And Mother Yashoda wanted the other gopis to be in on talking about Krishna and tasting the flavor of Vatsalya Prem, parental love of Krishna. This is charity. Giving and receiving inspiration to be more Krishna conscious. This kind of charity is what makes the association of devotees so lively. This kind of charity creates an atmosphere in the devotee community that is indescribably sublime. So a big part of life in Vrindavan during Krishna's childhood was filing reports against Krishna about the mischief he was doing. Sometimes Mother Yashoda would be in anxiety. Oh, what is my little boy going to do next? How much trouble is he going to get into now? But this anxiety is not material anxiety. You see, a devotee, a bhakti yogi, doesn't want a life without any anxiety. We want a life without material anxiety. But the anxiety in serving Krishna, that is special. It's not on the material platform. Otherwise, we would think, how can Mother Yashoda be a topmost devotee of the Lord and she's having material anxiety? What is Krishna going to do now? Oh no, how is he getting in trouble? What danger is he encountering? But this is not material anxiety. She's simply 100% thinking about Krishna's welfare, his well-being. This is pure devotional service. Then what happened? This time it was not going to be the older cowherd ladies of Vrindavan who were complaining about Krishna. This time it was going to be Krishna's own playmates, the little cowherd boys. including Balaram. That's why Mother Yashoda is going to take this very seriously. The cowherd boys approached Mother Yashoda and said, "Little Krishna has eaten dirt." And Balaram was also amongst those who filed this accusation. So Mother Yashoda, she became agitated. Not material agitation, but just agitated. What is my son doing now? I have so many delicious sweets in my home, and now he's eating dirt. She said, "Krishna, do you hear what your friends are saying? They're saying you're eating dirt." What was Krishna's response? "They're all lying." They're lying because I won't play with them anymore. Therefore, they have conspired to lodge a complaint against me. What was Mother Yashoda's response? Now, Krishna, you can't say that they all are motivated against you. Even Balaram says this. Therefore, there must be truth. Krishna said, "No, there's not the slightest bit of truth to it." Oh, Mother Yashoda said, "All right, well, there's only one way to resolve this controversy. It's a very simple way, Krishna. Open your little mouth and I'll see." And you know what happened when Krishna opened his mouth, and she looked inside. She saw the entire cosmic manifestation. She saw this material universe. She saw time. She saw space. She saw all the planets. She saw the senses, the demigods. She saw all the components of this material universe. All this going on in the mouth of her little boy. So once again, we have the situation. Is Krishna above everything or within everything? Mother Yashoda, when she looked in his mouth, she not only saw the entire material universe, but she saw herself with Krishna on her lap, feeding him. So, is Krishna in the universe, or is the universe in Krishna? Mother Yashoda was getting practical realization of an extraordinary reality. That Krishna is both within and without. She was looking in Krishna's mouth and she could see in his belly the entire universe. But at the same time, Krishna was very careful about her love. He didn't want her love as his mother to be disturbed. So Krishna arranged that although she saw this most extraordinary sight, her feelings as his mother would continue. This is how expert Krishna is in maintaining the love of his devotees. What if you opened the mouth of your son, a little boy, and saw the whole universe? How could you go on being a mother? But Krishna arranged the whole situation that even though when she opened his mouth to see if there were dirt, he saw the whole material universe. At the same time, her love for him as his mother was not disturbed. So she began to think, what's going on? What do I see? Am I dreaming? But no, how can I be dreaming? I'm wide awake. Or maybe the demigods have conspired to show me some illusion. No, but I'm just an ordinary woman. Why would the demigods be interested in bewildering me? Then she thought, well, maybe, just maybe, I'm sick, either physically or mentally. No, she said, that can't be either. It's obvious I'm in good health. So what is the conclusion? Why did she see the whole universe in Krishna's mouth? Her conclusion was, my son he has very special mystic powers. In fact, I remember Gargarishi, the great sage, predicted my son would be like Narayan. So therefore I'm seeing these things in his mouth, but he's still my son. She somehow was able to combine all these realities. I'm seeing the whole material universe in his mouth, including myself and him, and at the same time, he's my son. So she began to philosophically speculate. Sometimes this goes on in Vrindavan, just as a pleasurable activity to give Krishna pleasure. She began to pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not her son, though. She began to, oh Lord, these things are happening to my son. Please protect him. And then she became even more philosophical. Let me offer my obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whose illusory energy I think Nanda Maharaj is my husband, Krishna is my son, I am the queen of Vrindavan, and I am the possessor of countless cows. Let me offer my obeisances to the Supreme Lord, whose illusory energy has bewildered me in this way. So Krishna, little Krishna, is watching his mother philosophically speculate like this, and praying to God, please protect my Krishna. So Krishna's thinking, wait a minute, if mother gets so philosophical and starts having all these metaphysical calculations in her mind, who's going to feed me? Who's going to take care of me? So Krishna expanded his Yogamaya potency. His potency for personally arranging his personal pastimes. He expanded it more so that Mother Yashoda forgot everything she saw in Krishna's mouth. Mother Yashoda considered what she saw in his mouth to be like a dream, not very important. She became overwhelmed by the sweetness of the reality that Krishna is my son, he's hungry, he needs to be fed. Even though a few moments before she had seen the whole material universe in his mouth, she had even seen herself and Krishna together in Krishna's mouth. But because for Krishna's pleasure, he wanted his mother to stop philosophical speculations and metaphysical inquiries. He arranged that she become covered by his Yogamaya potency, the potency for enriching his pastimes. And she stopped speculating, dismissed whatever she saw as a dream, and began to take care of Krishna. So once again, the question, is Krishna within or without? Is he above everything? Or is he inside everything? Mother Yashoda got practical realization, although she quickly forgot it. Is the universe within Krishna, or is Krishna within the universe? These are issues that the greatest yogis are bewildered by. But those who follow the path of bhakti can witness these greatest mysteries. These mysteries are resolved. Krishna is both within and without. The universe is within Krishna. Krishna is within the universe. And then beyond this universe, that's within Krishna, and Krishna is within it, Krishna has his own personal abode. people spend so much time trying to make this world perfect. It can never happen. Every particular planetary system has a particular purpose. The lower planetary system means constant suffering. The upper planetary system means constant material pleasure. The middle planetary system means mixed happiness and distress. So if we know what neighborhood we live in, we can understand what to expect. In the middle planetary neighborhood, of which Earth is a part, you get good times and you get bad times. That's just the way it's going to be. Even on this Earth planet, we can see places with more happiness or more distress. You could be born in North Korea, but instead you're in Southern California. Some places have more happiness than other places. Some places have more distress than other places. This is the middle planetary system. You can save yourself so much trouble by understanding the neighborhood you live in and what it means. Earth will always be a place of mixed happiness and distress. It will never be a perfect material paradise. In the 5th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, the demigods who inhabit the celestial realms, the perfect material paradises, they say something very interesting. They say, if when we exhaust our good karma as demigods, it was good karma that propelled us to the world of the demigods. But when that stock of karma runs out, just before it runs out completely, if we have any supply of good karma left in our accounts, we want to take birth on Earth. Why? In the heavenly planets, the material enjoyment is so intense that we cannot be serious about making spiritual advancement. The sense gratification, the material pleasure is so enveloping that we can't make any spiritual advancement. But if we go and take birth on Earth with its mixed happiness and distress, we'll be much more motivated to advance in spiritual life. And that's the important thing. Not heaps of material happiness, but motivation to advance in spiritual life. So you'll read in the 5th canto of Bhagavatam, the demigods praying, let us take birth on Earth, where there's enough material anxiety that you're motivated to question, what's it all about? Is there some better place? I need to make spiritual advancement. Not only that, but the demigods pray that life on Earth is especially attractive to us because it's such a short life. After a few decades of living, you can go back to Godhead if you live your life properly. Whereas the lifespans on the heavenly planets are so much longer. There's so much time to get entangled in the material energy. But life on Earth is like now the average age, men is like 75 or women 77. So the demigods look at that and they say, oh, it's just a few days. A few days on Earth as a human being, we can go back to Godhead. But living on the heavenly planets, it just drags on and on and on, and the sense gratification is so good, we'll have no spiritual motivation whatsoever. We got to get out of here. So just see, those who are in circumstances of mixed happiness and distress, or complete distress, They want to go to an atmosphere where there is complete material happiness. And those in the atmosphere of complete material happiness are saying, this is not good for spiritual advancement. We need a little distress just to keep us honest, just to keep us in touch with reality. Otherwise, we're forgetting our devotional service. We're forgetting Krishna. Therefore, let's take birth on earth in our next life, where we can more easily be Krishna conscious because of the mixed happiness and distress and the short lifespan. Our life is meant for understanding the Supreme Absolute Truth. All other activities should be in pursuit of this goal. That is the balanced lifestyle. We take care of the body, we take care of family arrangements for the purpose of enhancing every individual's spiritual advancement. Then our work life, our family life, our school life, all contributes for the ultimate good. But if we take away what is meant to be the goal of all works, we become bewildered. We become caught up in the never-ending network of karma. We make so many plans, and then there are outcomes that are far beyond what we foresaw and what we can control. That is the story of material existence. Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, who was not a Brahmana. He was not a renunciate, a brahmachari or sannyasi. Arjuna is a family man and a military man. Yet Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to him to show that the bhakti practice is completely compatible with life in this world. Because Krishna knew, in the future, people will say, oh, this philosophy of Bhagavad Gita is so high, we appreciate it, but who can live like that these days? So Krishna knew. Persons would say like that. So therefore he spoke Bhagavad Gita not to a Brahmana, not to a sannyasi, not to a brahmachari, not to a renunciate, but to Arjuna, a family man and a military man. In this way, Krishna kindly informs us that his teachings in Bhagavad Gita are completely compatible for living in a practical world. We'll stop here and ask any questions. Yes.
Maharaj, Krishna's contemporaries, like Pandavas, Kauravas, his parents, Gopis, did they know that he had a divine qualities or he was like a average person?
Did they know if he had divine qualities?
Yeah.
No, Krishna didn't want them to know because that would ruin the pleasure. By his yogamaya potency, his personal energy for bewildering his personal associates, Krishna arranged that they wouldn't think he's God, because that would ruin the spontaneous dealings. Krishna knows how to enjoy the highest pleasure. So he wanted his personal associates to be able to relate to him in the most intimate ways, unencumbered by understanding his opulence, his powers. This is the lifestyle of the supreme enjoyer, Lila Purushottam. Okay? Yes.
You mentioned in the beginning of your lecture that in order to understand Krishna's transcendence and humanness, you have to approach Krishna through Chaitanya. So my question is that then you use this word in other sampradayas, Sri Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya. Can they not understand that aspect?
it is difficult, very difficult in this age of Kali. The impediments for full spiritual realization are massive. To understand everything about Krishna, Krishna in Vaikuntha, Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, and what are Krishna's confidential relationships with all of his devotees. These are very difficult to understand. And the proof is that in India, the land of Krishna, there's so much confusion about who is Krishna. So much confusion about Krishna's pastimes. Indeed, Krishna's controversial. What does everyone say? Ram. Oh, Ram, he's very understandable. But this Krishna, very mysterious. He does. Stealing butter? God is hungry? God does naughty things as a child? And dancing in the middle of the night with young girls? That is God? That's something we should do, not God. When Krishna does it, it's mythology. When we do it, it's life. To have a full and complete understanding of Krishna in all his relationships and understand all parts of Krishna's spiritual world, that can only be done through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You can get a glimpse of Krishna's power and majesty without Lord Chaitanya. But the most attractive part of Krishna is his loving relationships. To understand that incomplete, you must have the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Yes.
Hi, both of you. I noticed that some people don't believe that Lord Chaitanya is the reincarnation, and I don't know why. Can you please elaborate us on why some sampradayas don't accept that? Some do.
There is perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. So, it's not a negative, it's just that you can be more positive. There are different levels of completeness. When you approach Krishna through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's like the full wealth of the spiritual world opens up to you. A little wealth, who's going to complain about that, right? But complete wealth, that's even better. So we're not dealing with a negative, we are dealing with more and more positive. Perfect, more perfect than most perfect. Sweet, more sweet, and most sweet. You are all worshipping Panchatattva here. The more the Panchatattva dance, the more they make it easier to understand who is Krishna. And the more you dance along with the Panchatattva, the more you'll receive their blessings, how to understand Krishna more. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.